Hey guys, so today we are going to start having our story time for our Greek mythology. I'm going to be reading to you out of this book, and we'll be reading out of this book most days, and then we will spend our time during the live session to go through and fill out your interactive notebook about the gods and goddesses. So today is just kind of an introduction. I feel like I need to be sitting in a rocking chair. In olden times, when men still worshipped ugly gods, there lived in the land of Greece a folk of shepherds and herdsmen who cherished light and beauty. They did not worship dark idols like their neighbors, but created instead their own beautiful, radiant gods. The gods looked much like people and acted like them too, only they were taller, handsomer, and could do no wrong. Fire-breathing monsters and beasts with many heads stood for all that was dark and wicked. They were for gods and great heroes to conquer. The gods lived on top of Mount Olympus, a mountain so high and steep that no man could climb it and see them in their shining palace. But they often descended to earth, sometimes in their own shapes, sometimes disguised as humans or animals. Mortals worshipped the gods, and the gods honored Mother Earth. They had sprung from her, and she was the being of all life. Why do you think that these ancient Greek people had these myths? And that's something we'll talk about in our live session. Why did they make up these stories that they believed were real? A couple of reasons. One thing, they needed entertainment. They're kind of like us right now, except no phones, no TVs, no iPads. So they would tell these stories as entertainment. The other reason is they would use it to explain things in nature. So they would have the sunrise and sunset. They would have the ocean tide, the waves, all these things they had to explain, but they didn't have the science that we have. So they would explain these things through these stories. All right, so we're going to talk about kind of the beginning of the Olympians. So before the Olympians were the Titans, and Cronus was the head of the Titans. So Cronus was the Lord of the universe. He sat on the highest mountain and ruled over heaven and earth with a firm hand. But Mother Earth was angry with Cronus and plotted his downfall. But she had to wait, for no god yet born was strong enough to oppose him. But she knew that one of his sons would be stronger than he, just as he had been stronger than his father. Cronus knew it too, so every time his wife, Rhea, gave birth, he took the newborn god and swallowed it. With all of his offspring securely in his tummy, he had nothing to fear. But Rhea, his wife, mourned. Her 5 sisters, who had married the 5 other Titans, were surrounded by their Titan children while she was all alone. When Rhea was expecting her 6th child, she asked Mother Earth to help her save the child from his father. Mother Earth gave the daughter whispered advice, and Rhea went away smiling. As soon as Rhea had borne her child, the god Zeus, she hid. Then she wrapped a stone in baby clothes and gave that to her husband to swallow instead of her son. Cronus was fooled and swallowed the stone, and the little god Zeus was spirited away to a secret cave on the island of Crete. And there's the picture for that one. So Cronus and Rhea, his wife, and then baby Zeus. All right. So now Zeus. Zeus grew rapidly, and it was not long before he strode out of the cave as a great new god. Young Zeus chose Metis, a Titan's daughter, for his first wife. She was the goddess of prudence, and he needed her good advice. She warned him not to try alone to overthrow his child-devouring father, for Cronus had all the other Titans and their sons on his side. First, Zeus must have some strong allies. Metis went to Cronus and tricked him into eating a magic herb. So Metis is Zeus's wife at this time. She tricks Cronus into eating an herb. This herb made him so sick that he vomited up not only the stone he had swallowed, but his 5 children as well. So these 5 children that he vomited up were Hades and Poseidon, and the goddesses Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. And these gods joined forces with Zeus. When Cronos saw the 6 young gods rising against him, he knew his hour had come, and he surrendered his powers and fled. So now Zeus was the Lord of the universe. He did not want to rule alone. He shared his powers with his brothers and sisters. Zeus freed the monstrous sons of Mother Earth from Tartarus. Gratefully, the 100 armed ones fought for him with all their strength, and the Cyclopses forged mighty weapons for him and his brothers. They made a trident for Poseidon. It was so forceful that when he struck the ground with it, the earth shook, and when he struck the sea, frothing waves stood mountain high. For Hades, they made a cap of invisibility, so he could strike his enemies unseen. And for Zeus, they forged lightning bolts. In the gleaming hall of the palace, so this is their palace on Mount Olympus. In the gleaming hall of the palace, where light never failed, the Olympian gods sat on 12 golden thrones and reigned over heaven and earth. There were 12 great gods, for Zeus shared his powers not only with his brothers and sisters, but with 6 of his children and the goddess of love as well. Zeus himself sat on the highest throne with a bucket full of thunderbolts beside him. On his right sat his youngest sister, Hera, whom he had chosen from all his wives as his queen. So Hera is his main wife, who was also his sister. But also remember, none of these people are real. They were all made up. Okay, beside Hera sat her son Ares, god of war, and Hephaestus, god of fire, with Aphrodite, goddess of love, between them. Next was Zeus's son Hermes, the herald of the gods, and Zeus's sister Demeter, goddess of the harvest, with her daughter Persephone on her lap. On the left of Zeus sat his brother Poseidon, the lord of the sea. Next to him sat the 4 children of Zeus, Athena, the twins Apollo and Artemis, and Dionysus, the youngest of the gods. Athena was the goddess of wisdom, Apollo the god of light and music, Artemis, goddess of the hunt, and Dionysus, the god of wine. Hestia, the eldest sister of Zeus, was goddess of the hearth. So this is her tending the fire. She was the gentlest of all the Olympians. Hades, the eldest brother of Zeus, was lord of the dead. He preferred to stay in his gloomy palace in the underworld and never went to Olympus. The gods themselves could not die, and most of the time they lived happily together. So this afternoon we'll go through your interactive notebook and tell a little bit about Zeus and kind of how that started and answer any questions. And then tomorrow we'll read about Hera, his wife, and then we'll go through that interactive notebook and talk about all the 12 main Olympians, their stories, and kind of summarize what they have. Okay, guys, well, I will see you shortly.